Hi everyone, welcome to the virtual full moon magical market located in the beautiful and scenic Hudson Valley of New York State. My name is Amy Wilson and I am the proprietor of Otherworldly Waxes here in Beacon, New York. I am also the creator of Moon, Serpent, and Bone Oddities, Curiosities Night Market, as well as the virtual full moon magical market. I'm very excited you could join us this evening, and I hope you enjoy all the presenters, vendors, and readers. This evening we are lucky to have these wonderful presenters sharing their magical knowledge with us. This evening we have Luna Hacker, we have Ariel Gatoga, we have Lilith Dorsey, Mama Sarah, and Alison Levy, as well as the wonderful Ladies of the Ghost Hunt Paranormal Investigation Group. So please feel free to watch this beautiful video that we've composed and put together for you. If you want to watch particular presenters, you can click on their names on our website, and you can see their isolated videos, as well as you can follow, like, email, or visit their websites. All their information is located on their presenter page. This evening we have some really fabulous readers, anywhere from bone readers to mediumship to tarot. So please, you can click on those readers, learn more about them, go to their websites, and book your reading for this evening. We have amazing vendors, all magic-based vendors. Anything from dark to light, you can find it on their pages. Feel free to like them, follow them, and please support them. All their social media links are located on their individual vendor pages as well. So if you can't afford or don't have it in your budget this month, please feel free to follow those particular vendors, readers, and or presenters and like their stuff. Share their knowledge, share their beautiful products, share their services with your friends and your loved ones, and post them on your social media. We're all small business people just trying to make it by. So I really appreciate any support that you can give our vendors, readers, and presenters this evening. And I want to thank you again for joining us. I am very excited for this event. This is our second one, and they will be happening monthly around the new moon. The full moon, or the new moon, whatever moon. But they will be happening around the full moon every month. So you can find the list of our events on our website. If you are a vendor or a reader or a presenter or a performer, please feel free to go under the vendor call tab on our website and fill out a form and join us. Or email me directly, Amy Wilson, at moonserpentandbone@gmail.com. I'll be happy to talk to you if you have any questions or if you're interested in vending or presenting or performing. And I look forward to seeing you all again for our Moon, Serpent, and Bone Oddities and Curiosities Night Market, which will also be happening virtually on Friday evening, October 30th at 6 p.m. to midnight. We have some really, really fun vendors, again, readers and performers. So we'll have a video performance for everyone to enjoy. Again, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much. Please be safe, be happy, be healthy, and as always, live deliciously.
Merry meet! I am so happy to be presenting for Moon, Serpent, and Bone Oddities and Curiosities Night Market. Thank you, Amy, for inviting me, and I'm excited to share with you the magical tradition of using the Psalms. Yes, the Psalms. Now, some of you are probably already familiar with using the Psalms in magic, but many of you may not really understand what that means. And so I thought maybe we could talk about it for just a moment here today. Now, I've been working the craft. I've been in the craft. This is going on my 40th year. Can you believe that? 40 years in the craft since I first started formal training. And one of the more surprising aspects of the craft when I was young was when my teacher recommended that we use psalms. And I never wanted to do that because I was raised Catholic. I was raised in the church, and I went into the craft because I wanted new things. I wanted witchy things. I didn't want psalms. But my teacher was such that said, do it because I say so. So I did it because she said so. And I did get some great results. But it wasn't until many years later that I started to recognize the actual magical tradition that is the Psalms. And so that's what I wanted to talk with you about today. So I have here a couple different Psalm books. Now, you can use a regular Bible if you'd like, or you can get a book of Psalms like what I have here. This is the one I tend to use. This one's out of print right now, but you can get it used. This one's in print, and there's a few other really nice books. Anything that's just the book of Psalms. I prefer the King James version just because I like that sort of Shakespearean language. And if you can find one that's got some nice illustrations, that's great because it tends to get our magical juices flowing. So now the way the Psalms work is this. The tradition of psalmic magic that I follow does not use the so-called 6th and 7th books of Moses, which is the bulk of what you will find out there with psalm magic. We do not use those books. We use only the Psalms themselves. The way that it was taught to me and the way that I continue to practice and teach is that the Psalms, the book of Psalms, is a complete book. It is a book unto itself. It's distinct. So it does not, for us, for our magical tradition, necessarily belong in the Bible. We believe that the Psalms predate the Bible and that it was included and it was actually appropriated. Those Psalms were appropriated and many of them really rewritten so that it conformed to the theological bent within what became the Bible. But actually the document is much older, and we consider it a spell book. It's the spell book of the Bible, many people say. So we consider the Psalms to be very magical, and the way that we interact with them is that each verse in each psalm is filled with seeds of magic. Seeds of magic. And if you can work the psalm appropriately and you can use the right psalm formula, you can accomplish almost anything with just the psalm. You don't need anything else. You can use other things, like sometimes we will incorporate talisman, sometimes we'll incorporate candle magic or poppets or other kinds of perfumes, things like that. We will incorporate other things, but according to our tradition, you need nothing but the psalm itself. It's all self-contained, 100% self-contained. Now, we do have a list of suggested uses within our tradition, but there's this little secret about psalm magic, and that is that you can use any psalm for any purpose. Now, some psalms are very direct. If you use a prosperity psalm for prosperity, it's a very direct route to your goal. But if you didn't know any better what psalm to use and you just picked one at random and you said, I need some money, Psalm 109, you could just go through Psalm 109 the way that we teach you how to do it using our psalmic formula, and you will be able to get that prosperity using that psalm. Now, it may take you a very different route. You may really see a lot of scenic routes. You may have lots of errands to run on the way to your goal. Eventually, you will get there, and you will maybe get there faster using a prosperity psalm versus using a different psalm, but you will get there. So you don't have to worry about working the wrong psalm. What you do need to concern yourself with is the psalmic formula, and this is how it goes. You take the psalm and you read it through out loud all the way once without stopping. We call this an incantation. And then you go back through the psalm and you take it verse by verse, sometimes even line by line, and you unlock the inner meanings within each of those verses. You consider them. You consider the inner meanings, you contemplate the inner meanings, you search for them, you dig for them. And it's through that searching and digging and contemplating that you're actually planting those seeds deep within your mind. And they, in a very real way, will take root and grow and bear fruit after their kind. Now, we don't work the Psalms in a superstitious manner. We don't believe that there's some sort of magic vibrations coming through these words and that the words are going to cause things to happen in the world. That's not how we work them. Some people believe that, but that's not how we work them. We are from the understanding that the magical seeds are within the psalm that need to be installed into our deep mind, and this is done by a process of reconditioning the deep mind. So many times you'll have to come back to the psalm again and again and again in order to get the results that you want. But I'll tell you this, I've never seen a system of magic that is so universal in its application and with such good results, especially for people that don't have a lot of training in magic. They're able to get some remarkable results by just following that psalmic formula on their own. All right, so now I've recorded a video for almost every psalm in the book of Psalms on my YouTube channel. And before the end of the year, we will have all 150 down there. But let's just use Psalm 23 as an example, okay? Because it's nice and short, and I'm going to just show you how you do it, okay? So let's just say that you had a fight with your spouse, really bad one, and you wanted to move through it, and you wanted forgiveness on both parts, okay? So that would be your intention. And then this is how we would work the psalm. We would say, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever." And the way we work the magic is we just go back through and we say, okay, the Lord is my shepherd. Well, who is the Lord? Well, for us, we have to be very clear that the Lord doesn't mean a deity, doesn't mean the Hebraic deity. It means the Godhead. So if you know anything about the tree of life of the Kabbalah, it's the top of the tree of life. It's Kether. It's the crown. And it's a pre-gender God. There's no gender involved. It's not God the Father, even though the language is He. It's not God the Father or Goddess the Mother. That would be spheres 2 and 3 on the tree of life. This is the Godhead. So this is pre-gender. It is the principle of life itself. It's that which is beating your heart right now. Okay? So the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. So now this is a very powerful symbol. The shepherd being the Lord, and you being the sheep. That means the shepherd cares for its flock, cares for its sheep. So you're not going to, the shepherd is the best shepherd in the universe, right? Not going to make you go hungry, not going to allow you to be in pain, not going to allow you to have anything other than a perfect, wonderful, good life. So that seed we are planting, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. Okay, so the still waters are those, meaning that calm emotion, those calm emotions, the green pastures, that lush, prosperous land in which you live. So the Lord of the Psalms, meaning that life force within you, is now guiding you so that you have prosperity and peace. He restoreth my soul. So anything about your soul that is bothering you, anything that is existential despair is now being taken from you. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me on the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. In the Psalms, in magic versus religion, okay? In magic, the name of something is the nature of it. So for his name's sake, he leadeth me in paths of righteousness. That means that you're going to go all the right ways that you need to go in order for you to experience the nature of this power, which is perfect love, perfect infinite intelligence, infinite safety, infinite prosperity, all of the good that you want. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Now we're talking directly to this power. So the valley of the shadow of death is everything within this mortal world. Everything you do in this mortal world is a potentially fearful experience. So yes, even though you're walking amongst the living dead basically here, you're not going to worry about it because your true life exists within. Within you is all power, all safety, all goodness, and that is what the Lord represents. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Now, the rod and the staff of a shepherd are guiding implements. They're not implements of torture. It's what a shepherd uses to gently guide the flock on their way where they need to be, right? Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Okay, so you don't have to worry if there's anything bad in your life. If anything bad appears in your life, you don't have to worry because it's taken care of for you. All you have to do is come to the table that this power within you has set for you, and you know that all is well. You don't have to worry about your enemies because those are taken care of for you. You don't even have to experience them. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. To anoint the head with oil in this particular sense, think of a shepherd caring for the flock. So you're being taken care of. Your cup runneth over, meaning that you have no wants. Everything you need, everything that you require is always there at every moment of time and point of space. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. So not you chasing after the things that you want, not chasing after the solving of your problems, not you chasing after the prosperity that you need or the love that you desire. It's following you. Now, how about them apples? Isn't that exciting? You don't even have to worry about stuff anymore because you're casting a kind of spell that gives you a charmed life, that this stuff just comes to you because you are so magnetic to it. Okay? Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Now, what's the house of the Lord? It's not a place. It's not a place up in the sky that only Christians go to or only Jews go to. No, 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 no. The house of the Lord, from a magical perspective, is your natural dwelling. It's where you actually live right now. Everything that is not perfect in your life, everything that is fearful, everything that is not the good that you desire is outside of the house. And now you're going to dwell within the house of the Lord because you're not going to want to go outside on your own anymore. You're not going to want to wander off because you know that you being cared for in this way doesn't take away your free will. It doesn't take away your creativity. It actually gives you the opportunity to have your freedom, to have your creativity, to have the life that you want. So you want to be cared for by this power. You want to allow yourself to be cared for by this power so that you can dwell within that house. You can dwell within the true reality of where you belong. Okay? And so that's how we work it. It's just that simple. You go through the psalm once, and then you go back through it again, and you consider the thoughts. By considering those thoughts, you're planting them deep into your mind. Now, if you want to add things to this, like candles and perfumes and talismans and charms and poppets, that is absolutely fine. And the psalms are one of those bizarre little systems that do not require anything but itself, but lends itself to other things as well. So you can use as much other ritual as you want when you're working psalm magic or none. And that's how psalm magic works. And I hope this was interesting to you, and I can't wait to work with you again. Please come see me on my website, arielscorner.com. That's ariels-corner.com, Ariel's Corner with a hyphen.com. I'm on Facebook, Ariel Gatoga. I'm on Instagram, ariel.gatoga. And of course, I'm on YouTube, Ariel Gatoga. And my YouTube channel has all the psalm videos as well as a lot of other kind of spells and magical things that might be of interest to you. And I can't wait to see you again. Talk to you soon. Blessed be.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Today, I'm going to take a little time to go over some protective items for your home and ways you can implement them. I think everybody is really focused on protection right now for a lot of different reasons. And I know I've been getting a lot of emails and requests for ideas for protecting the home and family. Of course, this has to do with health and not only, for the wellness of yourself and your family, but keeping the environment of your home light and positive and protected and fresh during this time. I think it's really important since we're all stuck inside so much. We're all together so much more than we used to be. And we have so many different ideas going around right now and concepts and things happening in the world that can just sort of make the environment a little heavy in the home. It's a lot to deal with. So let's go ahead and jump into some of my favorite items to use for protection. So I'm going to start with a railroad spike. You can find these. I find mine. You can go to any railroad track, and as the trains go up and down the tracks, their vibrations will sort of work these out over time, and you'll be able to find them sort of lying on the stones that are on the tracks. And the only thing you can't do is you cannot remove them if they are still in a track, even if they're sticking up, because that's illegal. Okay, we don't want to cause harm to anybody or cause any issues or accidents. So a great thing to do with these is you can use one just for the fact that it's iron, and iron is protective, and that it's four-sided, and that also is a number of protection. These are associated with Ogun, who is great for protection. He is the Orisha of protection. The best thing I like to do with these is to take 4 of them and to sort of pound them down on each corner of your property to sort of create a iron protective barrier of your property. A lot of people will do this to stop from losing their home if they are facing bankruptcy or back taxes, things like that. People are putting a lien on their property. This is a really well-known traditional ritual for keeping your home and your property safe and sound and in your domain. So so 1 on each corner of the property as you sort of nail them down with a hammer or push them in if you can. You could state a protection blessing, a protection rite, prayer of protection, anything like that. The next one we're going to go to is a Hag Stone. I'm trying to line that up to see if you can see the hole in it. So that is any holy stone. So these holes are created by water. All right. So the water constantly dripping or the current constantly pushing on the stone, and it creates holes right in the stone. So the reason that these got their protective folklore or power associated with them is that rushing water or flowing water has always been associated with cleansing of negativity and evil. Think about, sort of like baptisms or spiritual baths when we take, we put herbs in our bath to help us cleanse our bodies. So running water has always had that for thousands of years throughout many, many cultures and religions. The ability to cleanse, purify, protect, and remove any negativity or evil. So a great thing to do with these, you can easily just set these on your windowsills around your home, or you can run a string through them and hang them up at your thresholds, at your doorways, maybe at your window. Outside, you could create like a really cool, like sort of wind chime. Obviously, it's not chimes, but just figuratively, you know what I mean? So I really love their energy, and this is a great, great protective talisman to have around. Speaking of baths, we'll go in real quick to, I dropped some. Now I gotta adjust my teeth if I can. Oh, that's funny. Okay, so I have some sprigs of basil, rue, and rosemary here. Now, you might want to typically pick a little bit more than this, but you don't have to. You could use this much, and you could boil these on the stove in a couple of cups of water. Just bring it to a boil and then turn it off. Let it sit and steep for about 15 or 20 minutes, and then let that water cool down and add it to your bathtub. And as you're washing, you can sort of do a prayer or an incantation to let healing waters run over you and flush any negativity or illness from your body. You can state something along those lines. But these are fairly common herbs. You could easily do with herbs from the grocery store, fresh ones. You could get mint, basil, and rosemary. Those will be right in your produce section in little packets. So you could get fresh herbs. I do recommend fresh herbs over the dried herbs. Dried herbs have sometimes been sitting on the shelf for a really long time, and their potency or their shade, the energy they possess, may not be so saturated as it could be. So I really recommend you work with fresh herbs for that. And you can create that type of bath following those exact same instructions for any type of any magical goal. For like road opening, you could use citrus peels like lemon and orange. For healing, you could add like lavender, rosemary. So you just change up the herbs and follow the exact same instructions. So another great one is, I have this presented in sort of a couple of ways here, is the iron nails. So a lot of times we see these called coffin nails. So a coffin nail is just any nail with a head that's shaped like this. It's four-sided and sort of smaller at the top and bottom, and sort of goes out in the middle there. So coffin nails don't really come from coffins. So anybody out there, I hate to break it to you, but that's not really what that means. Coffin nails were called that due to the shape of the head of the nail. So four-sided nails, also sacred to Ogun, have long been used for protection. You could use these similarly to the railroad spike. You could push them down into the earth around your home. You could easily put them on your windowsill. You could add these to a witch's bottle. Those have been found for centuries. And that's typically just a glass bottle that has broken glass in it, usually broken mirror for protection, so you can reflect back negative forces or entities. Some iron nails, usually the urine of the person who it lives in the dwelling, who is doing the work. And oftentimes you'll find things like pins in there, maybe knotted strings, maybe other protection items, maybe juniper, some protection herbs, things like that. So like I said, those have been made for thousands of years. We've found some that are centuries years old that are in museums. And that's a really cool form of magic. I actually made some for my home when my husband was doing some remodeling, and I did a couple of them, and he built them right into like the walls and the facades for the pillars we were doing. So that's a really cool way that we got to add some protection to our home. So this is a cross I have made by someone I know online, and she used to have a shop. She doesn't anymore. She still has a business, but she doesn't make this type of thing anymore. But these are hand forged iron nails, and she did this sort of God's eye cross that you like learn to do in school, and it has an evil eye bead. So I just thought this is really, really beautiful with like this hand spun wool. So this is another great idea of what you could do with a couple of nails and make one of these and hang it up. Super protective with the evil eye and everything. I have a lot of these hanging around my house. I actually have been giving these away free in orders, the large evil eye talismans. I was going to grab one, but it looks like I may have forgotten to. But that is a very traditional, those are all over Greece, Turkey, Ethiopia. It is a very, very, very well-known protective talisman. It is like recognizable across the world. Is that vibrant cobalt blue glass with the other layers of white glass and black glass created within it to make the actual eye. So that is believed to ward off the malokyo, or the evil eye. The next thing I have is a chicken foot talisman. So this may not be for everybody, obviously. I work with a lot of animal parts. I find that working with animal parts is a great way for me to connect with the spirit of that animal and pay respect and give honor to it, as well as invoking and evoking its energy and its characteristics into my life and into my magic. So chicken's feet, this one's made into a lovely talisman with some black hen feathers. Black hen feathers are also known to be protective. That is a pretty common in root work and hoodoo. So this one, we can use this in a couple of ways. You can simply hang it up as a warding protective talisman on its own. It's also used in magic physically. If you were setting up work for protection or maybe uncrossing or reversing, and you could physically use this to maybe go down the candle or on your altar space to scratch away the influences, the person, the entity, the energy that you are trying to rid your home of, yourself of, your client of, your child, your friend, whatever. So you physically use this to scratch away the energy and to scratch away crossings and hexes. So this works really, really well if you haven't tried it. If you can sort of if you have an aversion to working with animal parts and pieces, I understand that, but I do encourage you. It is a really great way to pay honor and respect and reverence. So typically parts of animals that are used like this, same thing with alligator feet, alligator teeth, they would just be discarded. They would be thrown away. They would be waste products. Now, a lot of people eat chicken feet. Where I currently live, people do not, but in places that I have lived, people certainly do. So it's a way to take that, and instead of it getting thrown away and nobody sort of paying attention to it and honoring it, it's a great way to save that and give it the respect that it deserves. So a quick one I have is fossils. These will be really hard for you to see. These are just some coral fossils that my kids had found for me. We love to go out and look for fossils together. That is like something we do as a family. We'll go to the beaches and look for them. We'll go to cemeteries and look for them. We'll go to glacial moraines and look for them. We have a lot of glacial moraines where we live. So these are perfect to just set on the windowsill. Where the protective folklore comes from with fossils, I'm not totally sure. But if I had to guess, I would say with it being, so what happens with a fossil is that the organic matter is replaced with stone. Okay, so it's like calcified. And I feel like that idea of it being so, so warding and so concrete and so stable and so powerful and so unmovable, I feel like that's where that's where that energy will come from with fossils being protective. So, like I said, sitting these around your windowsill is a great way to do it. I have them in bowls outside around my property because we just collect so much. I have so many of them. Yeah, so little fossils, just if you're outside walking around, sometimes in your driveway, you can find them. Lots of times you'll get like garden stone, to do landscaping with, and you can find tons of them in those. I've found handfuls and handfuls and bags of things like that. So fossils, free, all of this stuff is actually super, super cheap, or free. So that's even better. Okay, we will move on to a couple of my favorites all of these things are also available on my website. So if you're looking for them and you can't find them on your own, they are available on my website. So we will move on to brick dust. I need to refill this, apparently. We're at 50% here. So brick dust has long been used in Louisiana specifically, in New Orleans, old brick lots, is where they would hold voodoo rituals. And it was commonly thought that the brick, for some reason, they were holding the rituals there and they weren't getting bothered by the police, So they attributed the brick as to having the warding power and why they were being protected. So it brings up an interesting thing, right, as to whether things are inherently protective or whether we associate that power with them. And because we attribute that power to them, and that creates an idea and a focal point, something we manifest in our mind, if that's whether it's true. I don't really think it matters either way. These are little traditions that I find fun and useful. It's fun to teach kids about them. And the folklore, of course, and the traditions that go behind them, I think is a great thing to learn. I think it's really important to keep our history and our folklore and our traditions alive. Whether it's your heritage or not, it's always great to learn about other customs and traditions. And so what you would do with your brick dust, I like to just open this up. I go right outside my door and I just sprinkle a line right in front of my door. Now that'll typically last about, I would say about a month before I sort of sweep it away and put down a new one. You can also add this to a protection mojo bag. You can just put a few grains of it in there and it will work the same way. But the idea with brick dust is that anytime wherever you lay down a line, anybody who means to harm you or anybody who's evil cannot cross it. So that is a wonderful protection tradition to do for your home. Okay, now I have some black salt. My black salt is actually, you can buy black salt online from metaphysical stores. I hate to tell you, it's usually just dyed black. Nothing wrong with that. I prefer to use natural black salt. So it's usually from Hawaii. They have natural black salt there. And so I mix mine with iron filings, rust, some sage. And you could use this much in the same way that you use the brick dust. You could put down a line in front of your home. You can also add it to mojos. Some people will sort of create a barrier all the way around their house, or maybe put little crosses of it outside, because whether you have anything to do with Christian beliefs or not, the cross is thought to be a protective symbol. Especially an equal armed cross, not like a cross with its higher on the top not speaking of like one that you would see for like a crucifix. So that's another great way. Put it outside your gates, your doorways, in your mojo bags. You can put a little under your pillow and sleep with it if you feel like you're having nightmares. Those things are really helpful. So another great one. I'm sorry, I was so prepared. So these are Mexican anils. You can find them online, sometimes called blue balls. So this is a copper sulfate, and they're made into these balls like this. And these are really wonderful if you're having spiritual activity in your home or nightmares. And when I say spiritual activity, I want to be very specific. If you have a spirit in your home and it's just sort of like knocking around or whatever, and maybe making some noises or saying hi here and there in some way or another, please don't try to get rid of it. If it's not harming you, please don't harm it. Chances are it has been in your dwelling much, 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 much longer than you have. I believe in spirit, dwelling familiars and dwelling spirits. So I believe that there are spirits attached to the home, and they have more of a right to be there than we do. So a lot of times people will contact me and they'll say, oh, this spirit keeps annoying me. It keeps blowing my candle out, or it keeps knocking on my door. And I go, yeah, but is it hurting you? And they'll say, no. And I'll say, well, then leave it alone. It just wants maybe a little attention. Say hi to it. Say, I'll talk to you later. You know what I mean? So these are great. If you have spirit activity that is negative, that is really, really bothering you in your home, upsetting your children, moving things, causing things to break, things like that, poltergeist, you put one of these in a glass of water. Do that 4 times, 4 glasses of water. Now I'm all nice and blue. And put one in each corner of the room. You can also put these in a bowl of water and put it under your bed for nightmares. So that works really well to dispel negative spirits. Put that down. My last one here, super quick, is the trusty dusty broom. I found this one. Actually, I think my husband found it for me. We like to go antiquing together. And I found this one somebody had obviously handmade with an iron horseshoe in it. And I was like, that has my name written all over it. So it's like they made it into the handle, but a wonderful cleansing when you're sweeping your house, which you already do anyway. So a great way to enhance your magical practice is to work it into the stuff you're doing anyway. Sweep from the front of your house to the back if you want to draw luck in, okay? And if you have something you want to remove from your house, some negativity or, just stank energy, you would sweep from the back to the front, and then you would sweep that dirt up and you would flush it down the toilet or throw it away, okay? Don't throw it outside so it just goes outside, because then the idea is all that stankness is just going to be outside. The idea is to get rid of it. So throw it out or flush it down the toilet, okay? So there you have it. I hope that was hopefully at least interesting to you. Maybe you learned one or two things. Maybe you can implement them into your home. And thanks for joining. I look forward to seeing you all again. Have a beautiful and blessed day. Be protected, blessed, well, and healthy.
Hello, I'm Lilith Dorsey, voodoo priestess, author, filmmaker, and I'd like to welcome you to tonight's full moon magical night market. I love being part of the night market because it really allows me to connect with people during these difficult times where we can't always get together face to face anymore. And the full moon is such a powerful time. So we're going to talk about some water magic tonight because, well, I have a new book called Water Magic coming out by Llewellyn. I don't have the physical copy yet, but you can kind of see badly on my phone what the cover looks like. But it really is your comprehensive guide to everything that water has to do concerning magic, every kind of blessing, every kind of sacred site related to water, every kind of deity, god, goddess, magical animal related to water. So it really allows you to explore the element of water in a deeper way, pardon the pun. But tonight we're going to talk about different kinds of water that you can use in your magic. And we're going to start with spring water. Now, spring water, most commonly, probably you'll see it in a bottle like this, which I hope you recycle. And spring water takes on the character of whatever spring it comes from. So you can get spring water from Fiji. You can get spring water from Hawaii. You can get spring water that's made from glacial springs. You can get pretty much any kind of spring water that you want. And each one of those locations will give a slightly different magical energy to the water. And just be mindful of that when you're putting together your own magical baths or washes or, any kind of sprinkling water that you can do in order to improve your magic on yourself and your home. So the next thing we're going to talk about is rainwater. Now, the best rainwater to use for your magic is May rainwater. That means rainwater that's collected during the month of May. And that's because it has the influence of the witchcraft Sabbath of Beltane or Beltane. And that happens usually around May 1st. Most people celebrate that. And it's really a time for celebrating fertility and renewal and abundance and being alive and coming back to life after a long winter and being able to have that kind of great joy. So I like to use May rainwater in my magic because it can add that quality of abundance and joy to whatever work it is that I'm doing. Now, if you take that a little bit further, think about using storm water. Now, storm water can be used to strengthen a spell. It can be used for protection magic, or it can be used for negative magics in the sense of cursing or revenge. I don't recommend those kinds of things, but sometimes people need to do these things. So I'm just going to leave that out there for you. Now, if you take another step further down the road from storm water, you start thinking about things like hurricane water. We've had a couple of hurricanes in the recent past, and I hope everybody's safe. And if you got a chance to collect some of that water, you can use that for quick and sudden change in your life. It has all the powerful qualities of storm water just amped up to 11.
last,
kind of
basically.
normal water that I'd like to talk about today is urban water. And I mentioned I live in New Orleans. Before that, I lived in Brooklyn, and I'm pretty much a city girl. I'm an urban girl. As much as I love gardening and things like that, I really am a city person. And urban water has its own magic in and of itself, because what it does is it comes from a source, usually the closest river here in New Orleans. Much of our water comes from the Mississippi, and it snakes down into the city, and it goes underneath in the pipes, and it snakes up into your house and comes out your faucet. So what it does is pick up the spirit of place all the way along. So it has that kind of native energy because it's the body of water closest to where you're living. And then it also has that kind of personalized energy because it runs through your city and then runs along your house and comes out your faucet to get specifically to you. So this allows it to have a character that's unique to yourself. Only your water is going to come out of your faucet. And I think when I want to add a little bit of myself to a spell, very often I will add my tap water, because that is representative of who I am and where I am at that moment. Now, there are other kinds of magical water formulas that people are probably familiar with. The most famous one is Florida water. I'm a big believer in Florida water, particularly this brand of Florida water, Murray and Landman. It's been in effect. They've been running their company since, I believe, 1811, which is a very long time, over 200 years. There's not too many companies that have been in business for over 200 years. And there's lots of things you can do with Florida water. You can use it for blessings, you can use it for cleansings, you can use it to add to your magical baths or your magical waters or your magical anything really that you can add a liquid to. What else are we going to look at today? We're going to look at holy water. You can usually get holy water from a font in a Catholic church, either for a donation or for, whatever. Actually, they leave it out there and you can use it. I like leaving a donation just because I believe that there's good mojo in equal energy exchange. If I'm taking something from them, then I want to leave something, even if it's just some coins or a symbolic donation. Now, I know a lot of people have problems with traditional religions, specifically the Catholic Church. So if you don't want to go into the church and get the holy water, you can buy holy water online. If you don't want to do that at all, you can make your own holy water by getting somebody who is a respected elder of yours to bless the water. I remember one time many years ago, I was at a pagan event and I needed to make some holy water, and I brought it to the head druid, and I brought it to the head, Wiccan priestess, and I brought it to all the other elders that were in the area and got them to bless it, and that was our own special pagan holy water. Today is cemetery water. So I have cemetery water from people that have passed who I loved. They have faucets in the cemetery that you can use to water the plants and things like that. So every time I'm there again, I leave a donation. Maybe it's just a flower or a kind word or a thought, and I take some water from the faucet at the cemetery, and then I use that in my magic, particularly this time of year as we get near Samhain. Having water that comes from the cemetery, that comes from near my ancestors, I think is something that's really special. We're going to make something today because I love making things, and what we're going to make is some moon water. Now, you can make moon water on the full moon, or you can make moon water on the new moon. So when you're viewing this, it'll be the full moon. It'll be a great time to go out and make full moon water. You can use full moon water for prosperity magic, for abundance magic, for success magic, for all of these things. Now, new moon water is usually made for removing things, for protection, for getting rid of unwanted influences. That's the kind of difference. And it's really just based on the moon phase. The ingredients would be the same no matter what time of moon transit you were working with. So you're going to get yourself a big bottle, preferably glass. I like natural things whenever I can. And what you're going to do is first put some of your own tap water in it, because that's going to give your own spirit of place. Then you're going to add some spring water to it. Again, spirit of place, also granting us the spirit of renewal and energy. Hopefully you have these things in your house. If you don't, the energy of the full moon really lasts from the day before the actual full moon time to the day after the actual full moon time. So we have a little bit magical leeway on either side of the specific time when the moon is full or the specific time when the moon is new. Now to this, we're going to add some Florida water. Like I said, Florida water is really good for blessings, for cleansings. It has a lot of floral scents in it. It also has a lot of happy notes like bergamot and some of these other oils that I really love. This particular one is a secret formula, so nobody will ever really know. There is a formula in my new book, Water Magic, for it if you want to try and make your own. So you've got that, the Florida water, the tap water, the spring water. Now I'm going to add some rose water. Like I said, to make sure my magic is happy and joyous, and what's coming to me is going to be successful and abundant. So we're going to add some rose water. And now's the part where you can add whatever you want. Now, if you're doing something for abundance or prosperity magic concerning money or success in your job or business kinds of things, you might want to consider adding myrrh or adding patchouli oil, just a couple of drops in the top. If you are working on bringing love into your life and attracting abundant love and joy into your life, then I would consider adding something like ylang ylang oil, or adding maybe even, I like happy things. I like sunflowers. I like, heliochrysum, which is, that's my bastardized way of saying sunflower oil. That's what essential oil of sunflower, not sunflower oil you cook with, just so, nobody gets that mixed up. But this is really the part where you personalize it to yourself. So whatever your favorite oils are for accomplishing the desires that you want, you put it into that at this point. Now, the charge and consecrate this water mixture, moon water mixture, is to go back and forth like in the shape of a crossroads with the bottle over a candle flame. So 1, 2, back to the center, 1, 2, 3, 4. That symbolizes it can go into the world of the visible and the invisible. It symbolizes it can go into the physical world and the spiritual world at the same time. And it also grants it the blessing of the fire, so the element of fire. The element of water is already present because you have all your lovely water here in the moon water bottle. The next element that you're going to consider adding is air. Now, there's a couple of ways you can do this. You could light some incense, which I have right here, and use that to bless the bottle. Again, you're going to want to make a cross over the smoke. Another way you can do it is by simply using your breath and blowing on it with a long, slow exhalation. That's another way to charge it up with the spirit of air and also your own personal spirit as it goes into the mixture that you're making. So now we've done water, we've done fire, and we've done air. The only other element left is earth. Now, one of the easiest ways to do that is by charging it with a crystal, which comes from the earth. Since we're talking about making moon water, you might want to use a moon type crystal such as moonstone, or you might even want to use a piece of selenite. I have a piece of selenite here. Now, a lot of crystals will degrade if you put them in water, and some of them are even toxic if you put them in water because some of their trace minerals will leach out into the water. So I usually recommend doing your homework if you're thinking about putting it in, but you can just as easily leave it on the outside. You could get a piece of string or a piece of cord or even a rubber band and attaching it to the outside of the bottle, and that will get the energies of the crystal in there. They even make bottles now that have crystals on the outside of the bottle for people who want to get the sacred energy of the crystal without actually dipping it in the water. So now you're going to take this and you're going to take it outside and you're going to leave it somewhere where the moon's rays can bless it. Now, what happens if you don't have an outside? If you don't have an outside space that's yours, maybe you live in an apartment, you can put it on the windowsill where the moon's rays will touch it. You can put it pretty much anywhere that it can be, shined down on by the moon's light and the moon's energy. If you do have a yard, or you're lucky enough to have access to the outdoors where your bottle will be undisturbed, then by all means, please put it out there somewhere where somebody's not going to find it, but the rays can still get to it. Now you leave it out there overnight, so from dusk to dawn, and that way it will be blessed by the moon's rays. And then it's pretty much like capturing the sacred energy of the moon in the bottle. So then maybe you want to have the influence of the full moon, but the full moon is not up in the sky at that time. Then you can take out the water. You can use it to bless yourself by gently washing off your hands or the top of your head or your feet. So everywhere you go is blessed and protected by the energy of the full moon. You could also put some in your bath. You could put some in your wash water when you're cleaning. So this really is sort of an all-purpose water that you can use for anything. And it's good as long as it stays good, depending on how long. If you open it and it looks all nasty and funky, throw it out, make some more the next full moon. That's usually my best advice. Some of the essential oils you might be using might spoil quicker than others. That's why I can't give you a specific time limit, but just check it before you use it, especially if you've had it for a long time, just to make sure it's still good and it's not time to make more. So thank you everybody for having me back on the Full Moon Magical Night Market. I finally got the name right. It's a lot of words, but I'm so happy to take part in this. And anybody who wants to send me an email, my email is voodoouniverse@yahoo.com. I'll be happy to send them a free sticker for my new book, Water Magic. I still even have a couple of stickers left from my last new book, Orisha's Goddesses and Voodoo Queens, that just came out a couple of months ago. I got a lot of books coming out this year. And I also have my book, Love Magic. We don't have any stickers, but you can still order it online, or if you want, you can email me and order a signed copy directly from me. So thanks everybody for letting me take part. Have a wonderful full moon. Have a wonderful Samhain season, and many blessings.
Welcome to the Divine Key, where spiritual wisdom is unlocked and explored. We invite you in to see and experience all of our wonderful products and services. Thank you for visiting.
Ladies of the Ghost Time, welcome to Moon, Serpent, and Bone Oddities and Curiosities Night Market. We'd like to take this opportunity to thank Amy Wilson for allowing us to introduce ourselves for the first time as our paranormal team to the community. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Amy. I'd like to tell you a little bit about our team. Each one of us has a different role on the team, and we bring something to the team which is useful in our investigating. I am an empath and an investigator. As an empath, I'm able to pick up on feelings, things, energies in a room that I might not see, but I will know that are there. Jojo?
I am Jojo. I'm the team EVP specialist and I'm a spiritualist. I've been doing this for a few years now. I've been a spiritualist pretty much my whole life, I guess. But I can also sense stuff that are in the room that you might not be able to see. I can also hear it. Sometimes I could see it. That helps, with getting EVPs and then, sensing where stuff is and where we can get stuff at. Yeah, that's about it.
That was good, Jojo.
I'm Tink. I'm Mickey. We are light workers and investigators on the team. We support the rest of the team with backup investigations. We sense things as well. We compare notes with the team. And we've been doing this with our friends and our teammates for several years now.
Yeah.
Yep, and the thing is that we have been friends for many years.
Yes.
Yeah, we just decided to do this, make this team
And now
legit.
we have
Recently.
I am Bibi, and I am the team witch. I can see, smell, hear, and feel anything in a room, outside of a room, in front of anyone. The experience that I have, I was born with it, and we do this because it is a lot of fun, not disrespectful to anyone. However, if you have anything to share with us, you're more than welcome to put it on our page, LGH Paranormal.
And then
On
we also
Facebook.
have on Facebook, and we also have a group page. That's our community page where you could share your pictures and experiences on that community page. I'll have a link up on our Facebook page.
as we also will be sharing our pictures, videos, evidence.
Experiences.
Yep, all
All
our
that
our
stuff.
adventures we're going to share with everyone, and we'd like to hear some feedback from you guys and share your experiences with us too. And we always end our investigations with
Donuts.
We always have donuts at the end of every investigation. So you're more than welcome to come to our page on Facebook. Please be very responsible of the things you do right, and you will hear from either one of us in the team.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, guys, Amy.
Good night.
Bye.
Okay. How was that?
Hello, thank you for joining me. My name is psychic medium Luna Hacker of LunaEnchanted.com and Luna Enchanted, a full-service metaphysical and witch shop located at 1461 US 9W in the picturesque hamlet of Marlborough, New York, here in the Hudson Valley. I'm a professional psychic medium, and sometimes you can hear me on the Woodman in the Morning show on K104. Today I'm here joining you to talk about psychic mediumship. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about my process, what I do, and how you too can open yourself up to becoming a medium. So, to start with, I'm a psychic medium, which means that I talk to the other side. I'm a clairvoyant, which means I see. I'm a clairaudient, which means I hear. And I also have clairsentience, claircognizance, and a bunch of other clairs. It doesn't make me any more special than you guys, because anyone can become a psychic. We're all born with intuition, and when we raise our energy levels and we become clearer seeing, we go clear equaling clair, clairvoyant, clearer hearing, clairaudience. The best way to open yourself up further to your psychic abilities, honestly, is to meditate. Meditation and quieting your mind will bring your abilities more in tune. You know, when I was little, I used to see and hear things, and no one ever told me that it wasn't real. So for me, I was able to connect to those energies a little bit more easily because of that. Don't be afraid. You can't hurt yourself by doing mediumship. You know, you're protected by spirit and your ancestors and your guardians and your guides. So you should never be afraid of working with your psychic abilities. Having a divination tool such as tarot or using a pendulum or runes or any other type of divination method can help you also open up your abilities. I practice a lot of different types of readings. I read tarot. I also read runes. That's how I started initially. I also throw bones, and I read actually antique lace as well as shells. It sounds so complicated and it sounds a little hard, but really it isn't as hard as it sounds. So where to start? The first thing to do is to just start. You know, you want to pick a method that you like and that you enjoy. Something such as the pendulum may be good for you. Pendulums are pretty easy. You can pick them up and you can get them to say a yes or a no. You would just, you're going to ask it to show you a yes answer. And as you can see, my pendulum is starting to show me a yes answer. And then you can ask it to show you a no answer, and it'll start to show you no. You see how it shifted to a different, it was going round and now it's going back and forth. Thank you, pendulum. So now I'm going to ask it a question. Is my name Luna? And look, it's giving me a big yes. So now if you wanted to work with spirit, you could ask it questions. I'm also a paranormal investigator, and I use pendulums a lot when I'm investigating, places that might have hauntings or ghosts or residual energy. And a lot of times this tool is a great tool to help you with your psychic abilities and awareness. So again, it's something that's sort of like easy to start with, something simple like a pendulum. One of the things that I suggest when you do try a pendulum, or if you go to purchase a pendulum, is to actually, after you ask it to show you a yes or no answer, also to ask it to show you, is it your pendulum? So then you know it's your pendulum. You can also cleanse them and smudge them, or, if they're crystal like this, put them on the windowsill for the sun or the moon to charge them so that they cleanse the energy out as well. Now, tarot could be a little bit more complicated because you have to get to understand the meanings of the cards. But honestly, if you start and you practice, you can pick it up in no time. Like anything else, practice makes perfect. Runes are the same way. My favorite thing to do is I do teach classes on psychic mediumship here at the shop. And my favorite thing to do is to kind of get people to kind of sit back to each other, not knowing who's sitting next to one another, and get them to read each other without just connecting to the energy. It's very important to trust your intuition. When there's an emergency, a lot of times a parent will say, I had this connection to my child and I knew something was wrong. That's the intuition. Sometimes you get a feeling like, oh, today's not a good day to get in the car and drive. Pay attention to those little gut feelings, those intuition moments, because that is your abilities kind of telling you what's happening, what's coming next. You don't have to have a crystal ball. You don't have to even have tarot cards to be psychic. The psychic is you. All the energy you need is within yourself. So just being calm and confident and knowing that you can navigate what spirit is trying to show you. A lot of times psychic abilities come through signs. So for instance, if someone you love has passed, you may get signs such as butterflies, rainbows, cardinals, birds. All of a sudden a hummingbird may be flying in front of you and you're like, how come this hummingbird is flying in front of my car windshield? Maybe that's the symbol for you because your dad passed away. There's so many signs and symbols out there sometimes connecting you to spirit. Pay attention to your dreams. Most often, psychics, we start with dreams, having these dreams that show us different things. You can have dreams about like past lives. You may be having dreams about something that's going to happen. You can have premonitions. These are all ways that your psychic ability kind of talks to you. So just being intuitive and paying attention to just the little details can help. You can also use crystals such as amethyst, apophyllite, selenite to help you with your psychic abilities and to connect you to spirit and your spirit guides. Besides tarot, oracle cards are also a great way to start. Sometimes people get intimidated by tarot because of like the images and they don't understand what they mean. So you can start with something like an oracle card because there's words and explanations as well, and they can help you open up as well. Don't be afraid. Don't be intimidated. They're just tools. Most often, most psychics, especially psychic mediums, don't need really a tool. The tool is what's within them. I always say, I am the Ouija board. So when you're opening yourself up, you're going to start meditating. You're going to start concentrating and asking spirit to give you messages. You're going to be paying attention to your dreams. You're going to be kind of paying attention to your intuition, your gut. Sometimes, it's something is like a chill or the hair standing up on your, arm, letting you know spirit is nearby. Pay attention to the animals. Pay attention to the messages they're giving you, because sometimes you'll see like an animal over and over again and it's giving you a message. Such as like, say you live in the city and you're seeing possums. Well, you don't normally see possums in the city. Or maybe you're going to get a message just through a friend where like it's a coincidence or a synchronicity. Most often, and this is a great way, like when we go like to answer the phone, it's like we go to pick it up and we already know who's on the other end. That's your intuition letting you know that you're connecting to that other person as well and their energy. So these are all little things like, we all have these little abilities. You just have to tune into them and you'll start to see that they manifest and then you bring them to where you want them to be. It does take time. Becoming a psychic overnight is not really, the case. It took me many years to get to where I am as a psychic medium, but that doesn't mean you can't do it. Anyone can do it. As a psychic medium, not only do I read the cards, but I read the energy of the person that I'm reading. So everything is energy in this world. So every time you connect with someone, their energy meets you really before you even get to meet them. Hence why sometimes you walk in a room and you kind of already know something went down when you weren't even in the room, and you find out afterwards, like your boss came in and was like ripping someone apart, or like mom was just yelling at dad, or whatever it may be, and you walked in afterwards and you felt the energy. You have to pay attention to those cues, those energy, those feelings, because they're really giving you a heads up. So if energy is everything, you can use that when you read someone as well. So when they sit with you and you start to connect to them, you're connecting to their energy. Some people can be very open. Some people can be a little closed, maybe just because they're nervous. Don't be intimidated. Practice makes perfect. You know, if you start to read tarot, just sit down and really just try your best to open up, connect to the energy, connect to the messages, and just say the thing. So often what happens is we hold back. We don't say the thing that's the crazy thing that we see. So for example, many years ago, I had a reading with a woman, and she came in, and when she sat down, I got this image of this 6-foot long table and a huge skeleton with a top hat on it and a plate in front of it. And I didn't understand what that meant. It looked almost like a dumb supper of some sort. And here's this woman that's looking for a message. So I asked her, because I could see a man standing there who looked like he had died, probably from cancer. He was very emaciated and such. And I said to her, did you lose your husband? Did he die from cancer? And she said, yes. And I said, he's showing me that he wants you to kind of have this dinner. And he wants this, and I explained to her, and I was very apprehensive to tell her that he wanted this like skeleton in the hat and this whole like odd supper that he wanted. And when I started to tell her, she started to cry. And she said to me that before he passed, he wanted his children to get together. Half the family wasn't talking to the other half of the family. He wanted the children to get together and have that in remembrance of him, and try to like have that moment to kind of like connect to one another and to him. So if I didn't tell her the crazy thing that I saw about the table, she wouldn't have had the message and known that he still wanted her to do that, because it's what he requested before he passed. These are the types of messages you want to give. Sometimes they're really kooky. Sometimes you're talking about the purple, the purple elephant, or, the pink bunny, or, the man jumping up and down in the corner. And it makes sense to the person you're reading. So sometimes you have to say the things that you see. As much as they don't make sense to you, they're likely going to make sense to the person that you're reading. And if they don't, it's okay, because sometimes they go home and they speak to someone else and it makes sense to them later. So again, becoming a psychic, or being a psychic medium, I should say, is not something to be intimidated by. It's something to embrace if you're interested in it. I'm not any more special than anyone else. We all have abilities, and we all have the opportunity to connect to spirit. Thank you for joining me tonight. Please check me out on my Instagram at Luna_hacker, or at Facebook at Luna Enchanted Shop, or online at lunaenchanted.com, where you can find all the information about the location of the shop, phone number, and hours. I hope you have a blessed journey in your psychic mediumship and develop it as much as you can. It's a wonderful tool, and it's something that connects you to spirit and your path. It has been a blessing for me, and I'm honored to have been here tonight. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful night. Merry meet, merry part, and merry meet again. Blessed be.
Hi, my name is Alison Levy, and I'm a professional astrologer, and welcome to my RV. And I'm really happy to be presenting to you tonight, and or whenever you are watching the show. I really enjoy Amy's project she's working on, and I'm really happy to be part of it. And I'm originally from New York and spent my whole life in the Northeast, so that's how I know her. I'm currently living in my RV, and I'm in California. I'm in Northern California right now, and I wanted to share with you tools that I use, with the astrology and tarot and some little somatic stuff that I think could be very helpful right now. You're watching this, it's after the full moon, and it's after this huge week where we had the big astrological event of Saturn square Mars, and pretty much under the full moon, so in the zone. Because the zone of the full moon is like 2.5 days out either way, that it's pretty potent. So here we go. So Saturn is in Capricorn, its home sign. Saturn is about personal authority, okay? And Capricorn is the structures and the authoritarians that exist. So this really has been showing us with Saturn and Capricorn. It's finishing up after 3 years, showing us how we really, if we really are our own authority in our life, or are we just handing over, the rules, say the rules of engagement of what we're supposed to, how we're supposed to be, and how we're supposed to do, how we're supposed to behave to another entity, okay? So this has been really big because Saturn met with Pluto in January 12th. So there was eclipses and also the Saturn-Pluto conjunction, and with this mega stellium of planets in Capricorn, this hasn't happened since the 1200s, Middle Ages. Really represents it is about empire in general, and yes, you could talk about the one world government and the powers that be, and how America's really, at the forefront of that, and how it's all coming to a head now. And big reason for that is also that Pluto's having its Pluto return. America's having its Pluto return. So, Pluto returns in about 250 years. So when the Constitution was written, Pluto's coming to the same spot it was by about 2023. But we're definitely feeling it now with all of these events. This 2012 marker, this Saturn-Pluto conjunction with the stellium, everything is part of this, okay? So what I really want to do is give you some helpful tools with everything. Just finishing up with the astrology this week, because the full moon happened, the moon in Aries, right? Because Libra, Sun, Aries is the opposite with Chiron. So there's this huge thing going on about us really coming to grips with, really of how we see ourselves, and everybody has Chiron in their chart. Okay, you may have heard of Chiron. It was founded in 1977. It's an asteroid, and it exists between Saturn and Uranus. So the planet we can see from naked eye, Saturn, and Uranus, the first one we can't, represents more spirit and the universe and God or goddess, that kind of energy, goddesses. So with Chiron in this full moon chart, we're really feeling like any sort of inadequacies, and how that is going to play out in relationships of all kinds, all of our relations, okay? And at the same time, the Saturn-Mars square is the second of the 3 squares, okay? And I can't go too deep into these because I don't have a lot of time, so I'm really just giving you the bits. You can definitely, I don't know if you can come, you probably have to reach out to me separately. I'll give my information at the end, and maybe it'll be listed, because just a lot I want to just cover. So the Saturn-Mars is this battle between like our will and drive to be our authentic selves, and then this energy that we really controls things and manages things and is in charge. So that's what's coming to a head now, okay, with the square energy. This is the second one. Mars is retrograde for this one. Mars was not retrograde for the first one. So basically, which was the summer, okay, Mars squared all the outer planets in Capricorn. Mars is 6 months in Aries because it's retrograde. So this is also extraordinary, to have that much time that we're really focused on our energy and our drive and our willpower. Retrograde means towards spirit. I mentioned I do something called cosmic consciousness, that I studied it and got certified. This is a whole system and really explains a lot of, you could say, New Age concepts through astrology. So the Saturn with the Pluto is really about your personal authority, and also this like illumination energy. It's related to enlightenment, okay, of like really coming online and really realizing who you are, and that's like being more and more empowered, okay. And then we're going to have the third one. That's when Saturn and Jupiter are going to move into Aquarius. So at the end of the year, and then Saturn and Jupiter are going to meet on solstice, winter solstice here in the Northern Hemisphere. And this only happens every 20 years, and then it's going to happen at 0 degrees Aquarius. This is really a sign of the new age coming in, the old age being Pisces, the old systems being the Capricorn. So the new is Aquarius. It's our vision. It's uniting, not being solitary anymore, and finding others that we can work with and build things, because that's how you have power. So that's how we're going to see things play out with this third square. You're going to see the power is changing. Okay, so Saturn it also loves Aquarius. Saturn belongs in Aquarius. It comes a little differently. It comes more about information, more about systems, more about, yes, AI and computers and technology. So there's a lot going on in outer space, of course. Mars will finish up in Aries and head into Taurus, and that is like immovable. Mars in Taurus is like an ox. You're not going to move this entity. Aquarius, this new Aquarius square will be the people, okay? Uranus, Saturn in Aquarius, Uranus in Taurus as well. Uranus is long-term in Taurus. It's been I think it's been 2 years now. Maybe not quite. It came in and out. So maybe a total of 2 years now. This energy is, I believe, a lot of the earth changes. It's like an enlightenment. I would say it's like, you can imagine it's like lightning hitting a tree. It's reminds me of like our chakras coming more online, more heart awakenings, more somatic things. I think that really brings home. I'm going to get to that soon. And so Uranus rules Aquarius, right? So the square will be like within Aquarius in a way. Saturn square Uranus, the two rulers of Aquarius, the new age, new ideas. But Mars will be with Uranus. So Uranus, this is more electrification of like our bodies, of our values, of like really sticking with what we want, really, and building something, okay? Taurus is like, if someone has a lot of Taurus in their chart, like in a career sector, they're gonna love like farming, gardening, and that kind of thing. So this thing we're talking about, like, so new ways of feeding one another and being close to the land, taking care of the earth, being earth stewards. This is all gonna be big. But then the square energy is definitely showing the combativeness and the disagreements still, and will be amped up with there being another outer planet, Uranus, being there. So given all of this, and even this week being so intense, I can't even imagine how intense this week's going to be. I've always thought that this time was the hardest time of the whole year, looking at this time. And so people are just getting even more and more stressed. Maybe they can't pay their rent even. It's like a lot of people. And so we really need to share these tools that can help people realize that they are safe and taken care of. And that's why what you're doing is so important, learning about spirituality or being a healer, because you are helping people, really connect with their higher self and connect in their body, which is, where, wounds and trauma and generational trauma lives. So let's do a little thing now. I don't know. I assume it's under the full moon and there's a lot going on. So you can do a tune in now by taking some deep breaths. I like to put a hand on my heart. Sometimes a hand on my belly too. And just slowing down. Deep belly breaths. And you're just going to notice what's going on. You're just going to notice. And it may be a lot. It may be nothing. It may be the dinner you ate. It just, you never know. And it's always so good, and it's always helpful to tune in. And in that process, and with that information, you can be in dialogue with your body. You can heal your body. You can do like imagery. You can send in love and light to any part of your body that's having trouble. I do Reiki. I'm a Reiki master. So when I do healings for people, and I combine the astrology, the tarot, with something I call Astro Arcana, and also with this healing and it's just kind of led. It's led by you, like the client, the person, whatever's coming up, and then everyone learns to be their own healer. So you can do this. I do actually recommend getting attuned in Reiki, and then you can really start to do that yourself and start to just dialogue more with your body, because that's what you want to. That's your greatest tool. Okay. So the tarot I like to use in combination. I mentioned this Astro Arcana. It's a system I have. So when I'm doing an astrology chart, like I wanted to talk about more about the full moon chart, but really the biggest thing is the Chiron. And so people really dealing with their woundedness and really coming out now. Coming out, it's like we went through, like, for a bunch of years, it was like the big social media explosion and people, wanting to look a certain way. And portray themselves a certain way, and now it's about really being yourself. So it's like defying stereotypes and really opening and welcoming more diversity in every way, and really recognizing that woundedness is what makes us all special. And like, I'm sure when you love someone, like, you love their quirks and their wounds on consciously, like, that's what that's like the whole picture of somebody, right? So this is what we're talking about. We're talking about this holistic system, and I like to use the tarot for that. So it's like, here, I will pick a card about this full moon we just had. Okay, this is the John Holland Psychic Tarot. I recommend it for beginners. I got the Spiritual Strength card. This is like the 9 of Wands. So it's nice to got spiritual strength. So this is like, there's a lot you're up against. There's a lot going on, and we're all having to be like our bigger self. See, the spiritual strength, that's what's going to carry us through right now. It's like the wounds make us feel small, but that really is how we grow. It really is how we grow, and we become compassionate, and we become healers, because we have to learn how to heal this thing in ourselves. So that's the Astro Arcana. Yeah, I use it in all different ways. I also pick cards like when I'm going to stay somewhere new in my RV. I pick a card about safety. I do all sorts of things, like mundane tarot. So I think that's it. I don't want to go overdo my time here, and just thank you. And if you want to check my workout, I offer readings, healings. I'm on IG, Alison _somatic_cosmic. I'm on Facebook under my name, and I also have a Facebook page. I just changed the name of it, so but I think if you do facebook.com/starryblessings, it still comes up. My full name is Alison Beth Levy. I'm on YouTube under Alison Levy now, is the main one I use. I have a website, AlisonLevy.com. So just thank you for letting me share this with you, and I wish you safety and peace and love and joy at this time, and bye. Thank you.